That's a problem. Oh, wait, no, it's not.
I don't think the camera caught that, but that's funny.
Good
Smile, you're
morning.
on camera. Oh, I didn't move the microphone.
Oh, no.
Oh no,
It's
whatever shall we do?
behind the hand sanitizer.
Sorry if this is making any noises on you guys. Hello, good morning. Oh, I'm not wearing my thing.
The Nancho.
Welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow. I have to go get my Nancho. I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in sunny and warm and feeling like summer, Brevard, North Carolina. I'll be right back.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there. This is the Dear Becky and Lizzy edition while Rebecca is wandering off. It's almost time for the Casa Pinka codes to start working. They start working tomorrow. You can get your kits anytime through the weekend. We recommend you get them a little bit before the codes expire on Sunday night.
Sunday night, midnight Pacific time.
Midnight Pacific time, which is we'll all be in bed East Coast time because yeah. It's fun.
Vamp, Liz, vamp.
I hate vamping. Rebecca's getting her non-show all situated.
You gotta get the V pointing in the middle, or else it looks a little funny. And look, it's so pretty in the back. I like it in the back.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, one more time. I mean, we're going to probably talk about these a little bit today, hopefully in context of the question that we have. Excuse me, yarn lung. But I had to put it on because, today's the last day that we are filming when you can have access to buying the poncho colors and kits to get the code that will only work this weekend. You can buy the kits next week. That's fine. In fact, we'll probably still have some left, so we encourage that. But the code only works this weekend.
Yes.
Kind of a feeding frenzy type of thing. So, and we're not open this weekend. We're open Friday, which is a day the codes work. But you can buy in advance of the code working, and we send you the code, and then when the code works, you use it.
It's fantastic.
It's a thing. It's really wonderful. Casa Pinka, this is I want to say the third year she's done it.
Mm-hmm.
At least she might have been doing it for 4 because I think that's how long it's been available for. But I don't know if I did it the first year because I think I was a newbie shop and I was overwhelmed by life. Because I think that was magical thinking year. Yes. And people
have done magical thinking, or we had people come by.
People bought yarn. I may or may not have had codes, but I didn't put together combos and thoughts.
We did have codes because we have several knitters who did magical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So
I must have gotten the codes. But again, I don't recall putting together doing something as big as we do now. And I think part of it was because we were a new shop. And oh my gosh, life, it was whoa, that we even had the codes. It was come in and pick out yarn.
Yeah. You have to buy 3.
It was 3 skeins of fingering weight yarn.
If you buy 3 skeins of fingering weight yarn, we'll give you a code.
Yeah, and you ask for the code. Yeah. We'll give you a code. If you say, I'm doing this for magical thinking. And I think that was, because last year, okay, let's see. Maybe that was 2 years ago. Anyway. I didn't get enough sleep last night.
It was in the before time.
Yeah, it was in the before time. I like that. Instead of olden days, the before time. Oh. This year's Nacho. Last year was Breathe and Hope and Hug Shot. She did a second one because the first one went so well. Magical Thinking might have been 2 years ago because I can't remember what was 2 years ago. I'm sure Amy D and Carol especially would know. And then, so maybe it was 3, the first year the shop opened, I don't think we did anything. Anyway.
The first year the shop opened.
That would be 2018. 2019 was probably magical. We don't want to waste the whole episode on this, but we could.
I'm thinking before that. Never mind.
Yeah. Okay. it's really hard to remember the last year existed in the time-space continuum in terms of trying to figure out what happened when. It happened, but it doesn't feel like it happened in the course of regular history. Anyway, so this year it's different and fun, and you'd have to go check her Ravelry listing to see if she finally got up the fingering weight version of this, but we've only done kits for the DK weight. And we've tried to take most of the guesswork out of it for you so that you just have to pick a size, which we helped a couple people yesterday, at least one person, try to figure out which size they would want to make. And I think we figured out that I might have taken actually the shoulder measurement. We were talking about the shoulder measurement and just, do a close size. I might have taken my shoulder measurement and added that 4 to 6 inches of positive ease. I'm not really sure. So, I mean, when in doubt,
it's a poncho.
Yeah. When in doubt, make it big and roomy. So it's a lazy sweater. And I will say a lazy sweater is not super functional for me when I'm actually trying to do business at the shop, because I can't see what's on the table when I do this, but it's really comfy for, sorry about that. Well, it's really comfy for, going to the car and back and being outside and, things like that. So, and it'll be warm enough today that I won't need it on, but I will for the filming. Yay. So,
we have a question.
We do, but really quick. I could do this at the end, but I'll forget. We talked about the pendenza yesterday. What?
No.
We talked about the pendenza yesterday, that gassed mercerized cotton. And I said I need to find something to make with it and do. And I've started. Look.
If you squint, you can see the color change.
I can. Yep. Okay. So I picked peacock because it had the most interesting color change of what we have available. And it got yellow and then back to kind of a weird green. Not weird. Weird's not a good word for it, but
Interesting.
That's not a good word either. It's a palish type green. Sure. So but it's heading towards blue. In the context of the color change, I think it's really fun. But right now, so this is going to be a little kerchief thing. My pattern somewhere. It's the kerchief. It's not even a shawlette. It's so small. They're not even calling it a shawlette. It's going to be a kerchief, and it's garter. It's only expanding on one edge. I actually think this might be the right side, but I don't think it really matters. You've got garter edges, you've got some mesh work in the center, and there'll be garter at the top, and it'll be a little you can wrap around like this.
There's a button somewhere.
They put 2 buttons on one of theirs. I don't think there's a buttonhole. I think it's if you want to make some way to fasten it on, because it probably will be if it needs to stay on. But it should be. I might make it bigger than the pattern says, because the pattern says it uses about 215 yards ish, and this is 250 or so. And I want to get as much of the color change in there as I can, just for fun. So one skein project, awesome. Cotton, lightweight, yay. Shameless plug for product of the week. I bet by Tuesday I'll have this finished, but that's the last day you can take advantage of the sale of product of the week. So, if you're at all intrigued, buy early. Product of the week at checkout will save you 15% on that. And on the fuzzy stuff, the Wool Addicts water that we might be talking about a little bit today. We'll see where the conversation takes us. So we had a question. Excuse me.
Let me lock that in place.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do 2 things at once. Just talking to you all and trying to... It's a multitasking thing. I'm getting old. I'm telling you.
I'm older than you.
Yeah, that's not the point. That's irrelevant. It's not like everybody has cognitive decline on the same level at the same age. And I know I have a lot of knitters who are older than I am, or at least think they are, because I'm older than I look, but I'm not that old, who are just like, you're not that old. I feel it some days, though, I'm telling you. I know I have a lot of
ages.
It's like I'm gonna be like presidents who go in and come out like ancient and wizened.
Well, you've got your rogue streak. So
I do. I'm like, now that I'm letting my hair grow out, I know I have all my badges of honor.
It would
gray
be
hairs.
Interesting to know when that streak started showing up.
I
Because
know.
I would
I think it's been during the
3.
pandemic. What?
maybe as far as 3 years ago.
True. I mean, I only recently start, like, let's see. I'm trying not to waste too much time on this. I have a fatigue headache. My hairstylist talked me back into like doing some fun super dyeing of my hair when I was working at Raven Gap. So yeah, it could have been 3. It probably didn't predate Raven Gap because I would have noticed because I've gone in and out of dyeing my hair. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Although why would I what I feel like on some levels I was more stressed as a teacher than I am running a shop, but it's a different stress. That apparently didn't turn my hair. Well, it could have. I'm going to stop now. What's the question?
Okay.
I'm glad I amused you. Glad I'm here for your amusement, Liz. What's the question?
Dear Becky and Lizzy, you showed putting together kits with colors of yarns that are mostly variegated or have more than one color or shade in it on Thursday last week. Will you describe how you would put yarns together that are solid? What colors go with other colors? What shades go together? Should I have 2 different colors but use the same hue or shade? Or how should or should they be different? Color confused.
And there's a lot to potentially talk about here, and there's and some people may feel like it is a very scientific thing, and I don't think we think that way at all. But disclaimer before we start that we are going to talk about our own personal experience, which is
opinions.
and opinions, which are opinions and are not the be all and end all of color theory, because that's probably a thing, and that's not really what we're talking about here. And I'm sure there are a million people out there who will completely disagree with what we're going to share with you, but we will share what we do. I keep rearranging where my little V is sitting. And or some of what goes into it. And honestly, some of what goes into it for us is, oh, that looks cool.
That
we can get a little more scientific than that.
I joke that sometimes I'll put kits together just to see if they sell. Oddly enough, they do.
I joke sometimes that we could throw yarn in the air and what lands on itself, like what lands on top of another yarn, we could put a kit together and someone's going to like it.
The colors
we may not,
for people are so
it's a personal thing. It's
we've had a customer in the shop who was like, I like these 2 colors together.
And inside I'm going, what?
Me and a whole bunch of other knitters who were sitting at the table were like, never, no. And I was like, try these 2 colors. And she was like, oh, that's interesting. But it has to be these 2 colors.
And honestly, at the end of the day, if they like it,
it's what makes you happy.
And sometimes I will use the very kind of couch language of, it's not what I would pick, but you should go with it.
Yeah.
That's the not in your face way of saying, I don't really like it, but if I like it or not is not really the point at the end of the day. In many ways, it's one. I took this crash course on running a yarn shop. Like we had this symposium before the yarn shop opened, and some of it was great, and some of it, may or may not have been helpful. But a lot of it was just to hear what other people are thinking. And one of the things they said was, if you can, when you go yarn shopping, like or talking to reps or going places, bring someone who likes different colors than you do, because if you we've done that. Like if you only buy colors, if you only order colors for the shop that you like, you're leaving out a whole demographic there, because most people aren't like you. Some people are and a lot of people aren't. So they like other colors. So what I pick, like we try to pick a wide variety of kits, and not all of them are things that we would make, but someone else might like. So, I think we're still on the disclaimer.
Still on the disclaimer. For going into it, there's the whole color on the.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a former art teacher, and I know a little bit of this, but I don't have an art degree, so I'm partially talking out of my bum when I talk about some of these things. But you're talking about the color wheel, right?
The color wheel. That's the name. Yes.
There's a color wheel, and we have excuse me, microphone. Like you have the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue are primary. They're the first base colors. And then you have on that wheel between these, like when you mix red, and blue together, and I'm tired, so this is going to take longer than it should. You get purple. That's considered a secondary color. These two guys together get you orange. That's a secondary color. And then these two guys together give you green. That's a secondary color. And then there's the cool thing with color theory and color whatever, that on this wheel, the ones that are across from each other are considered complementary. So blue would be across from what happens when you mix the other two together. So blue and orange are considered complementary. And then red's complement is green, and yellow's complement is purple. And so that could be a way to pair colors together. If I mean, one of the questions about pairing colors together, if you're going for different colors or if you're using the same color, is how much contrast do you want? Like, do you want them to pop like this? We've got a cream and an aqua, and they have a level of contrast with each other. Now, if I had picked another shade of blue, if it wasn't far enough away from this shade of blue, there wouldn't be much contrast and you wouldn't see the stripes. And I think we were talking before about people who come in and they take a photo of the colors they're thinking of, and then they grayscale it. And that, I think that, because we don't do that.
Contrast and
you can see how like even if
color.
they look really different from each other when you're looking at them, if you put them in grayscale and you can't tell there's a difference between them, they may not have enough contrast. So there's like, you can use like the color theory and this, that, like, but that doesn't mean like, oh, I can only use orange with blue. That's it. Like, I wouldn't do that. You know, you can use two primaries together. You can.
Yeah. Yesterday was a perfect example of, pairing solids, because we got in some, new
segue. What
we got in some refill yarn for
the summer delight.
The summer delight, and Rebecca knew this was going to be.
Well, those two colors, I've got 3 colors in my sweater, and those 2 colors
just pop.
They pop against each other. They make it like, when I started the sweater, I only had the porcelain and the celery, and people were like, huh. And then I got to the lagoon, and people went, ooh.
And oddly enough, it's the same.
It's the same idea. It's really close to like Casapinka's original combo. So there's a lot of contrast. So we knew we wanted to put up a Nancho combo with those 2 colors. Now, a third color, like, this one could make a really cool border, but we're trying to make these affordable. So we're offering them without the border, because there's so little yarn use for this. If you really want a border color, you got to go buy it on your own. But like these, like if we're going to, these 2 colors, the lagoon and this one's called tulip. I want to call it fuchsia. It is, but they go really well together. I mean, again, a lot of what we do is we hold it up and go, ooh.
And the pink and white.
Look at that contrast.
Would go
right?
well.
Light and dark. These two, I bet if you grayscaled them, would look like the same yarn. There's not a lot of difference in bright or dark with them, but they're really cool colors to put together. And so I don't know. I'm trying to find things that we put up a combo of this,
and Rebecca was like, I want to do something with the tulip,
which could go there,
but we were already using the white in another kit, and
someone can buy that on their own.
Yeah. So we have like
on the other site,
we have what, 12 colors, 11 colors of this.
12, I think.
12. And so this is sitting in a bin, and Rebecca's like, how about that with the pink? There's
a lighter pink.
You could tell it just kind of died. And
that's because one of the questions was, what about different hues of the same color? Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Like
that would be cool.
That could work. The other pink has a little more of an orangey tone to it. We can get into like warms and cools in a second. Like this could work for someone, and someone else might go like, what? Depends on how much contrast, depends on,
and it depends, like the other colors that we have,
that part of it is going to be too close together, and like they clash a little bit, even though they're both pink.
They fight.
They fight, and some of that might be, again, that warm and cool I was talking about, which I didn't want to go to because you're saying something else and I'm squirreling. Sorry.
But like, would it work with gray? Yeah, but it
wouldn't pop very much with
the colors. We wanted something to go bam.
Wait, this is the gray.
That's the gray. it works,
Yeah.
but not as cool as the white.
If
Like,
someone wanted something much more subtle, you know, and that's what the questions we have to ask. And there's someone out there who looks at this one and goes, but that's exactly what I want.
Yeah. So then, and Rebecca kept, throwing out colors, and I was like, how about this?
You were like, we have a navy.
We have a navy. And so
Mostly navy, yeah.
it's,
that we thought would be really fun as an opposite, as having the
Yeah.
navy for the dark stripes, like just a different color. So we listed this one too. But it's a lot of it is, do they go together? Do we think they go together? And some people would those be like, I'm colorblind, or I'm this or that, or I can't see what colors would go together. And I probably felt that way when I opened the shop. And that is probably why I default to you a lot. I'm like, you're my color guru, because I don't always trust my judgment with colors either.
Part of my picking colors for different things is I've seen that color combination somewhere, whether it's in fabric,
life and observation.
Yeah, it's like, if you look at some of the colors they throw into hand dyes, putting those colors together in solids will still look, I've doing a papillon in solids, well, in tonals, of a yarn that was variegated. Like, I was like, ooh, it was a gradient.
And sometimes picking the variegated, that's what we were doing yesterday. Yes, we took the variegated and said, what colors do we see in this, or what colors do we see going with parts of this, right?
And sometimes there's the overlap, like with variegated and solids, you don't want, depending on the pattern, you don't want a lot of overlap, because then you're going to get,
it gets muddy.
You
don't see the things that are supposed to pop. Like one of the color combos that you put together, they are two-tone. This is actually off black. This is not quite black, but it's really close. And we don't have a lot of this yarn left, so we don't have many kits of this listed online, but off black with a pretty almost charcoal. And a knitter came and bought this. Do you think there's enough contrast? It's muted, but when you're going with dark colors like this, you may not want it to pop too much. Like you could put these two together, but when Liz was pulling colors, like the subtlety of this, it won't be muddy.
There's enough contrast, but there are certain people, like my mom.
These are both talking about hues of the same color.
Black and charcoal are,
or we didn't list this as a combo, but this ostensibly could work.
It's just one step lighter than the black and anthracite.
I mean, I was talking with Nikki yesterday about, you could always get this for the collar.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a lot of leftover, which is why we haven't listed them that way. We don't want to leave you hopefully with too much leftover yarn. But, grays, some colors will really work in terms of just changing the hue, or there's tint and hue and warmth, and there's all these words that can get confusing and muddled in what they mean. And I don't even know what the technical definitions are. I'm probably using some of them wrong, but hopefully you get the idea, right?
Well, when I've done
this combo was also, it's, they're both browns.
When I've done shawls and I'm looking for different grays, I'll pull every skein of gray out of the shop, because some grays are cool and some are warm. And some of that's because some are more natural, which isn't black. It's actually brown. And so, but trying to find the perfect colors sometimes take a little bit, but we can help.
Well, and it's like, this can even happen with grays and other neutrals, but it happens more with colors that are like saturated or like greens and other things. When I'm returning to that warm and cool thing, like I'm looking at yarns that are out in front of me here, and these are both green, but I don't know if I would necessarily use them together, because this is a cooler green and this is a warmer green. And, there are exceptions to every rule. So there are times when that will work. But on the whole, when we're making kits and looking at colors, we're looking at, are there tones of one and the other, or and
it depends on the project.
Yeah. Like you had picked out some cool greens yesterday, and then we looked at evergreen in the fiber space is a warm green, and they really didn't go together. And just because they're green doesn't, like, often when someone comes in and they want to make, a baby blanket, or they want to make something else that has to go to someone, and like their nursery are these colors, and it's like, but what shade of those colors? We have no idea. And so you want to pick something that hopefully will complement and not contradict. We're not trying to match, we're trying to complement. Because if you try to match, there's a really good chance you're going to fail. Because even if you bring a photo in of the nursery, the lens in which you took that photo has already distorted the color. So why not go with something that might be a few shades off, but because it's a few shades off, will not be like so close to the color that it's wrong. Like it's
Well,
like,
and sometimes it depends on.
Apparently I was showing someone something with this.
It depends on like what the project is.
Mhm.
If you're doing stripes, you may want them to pop a little bit more. When I did my sunset papillon, I was just looking for paint that was the right color.
Mhm.
It didn't matter. Like, I had an idea in my head.
Yeah.
And so I might have used those two greens together. If you're doing a foresty blanket and you want all the little pops and
you want
shadows,
nuance and different things. Yes.
you could maybe use those together. But if you're doing a sweater, probably not. Kind of depends on how you're.
It's really looking at how the colors play with each other in a way. It's a weird, I know it's kind of froofy language to use, but like one of the combos that Liz put together was this one. And I would call these both cools. But there's a lot of contrast to them, and they don't fight with each other. If anything, sometimes we'll pick colors because like these are both tweed, so we can see tweedy flecks of like a gray in here, or something that feels gray when put against this. So I know the question's asking about solids, but I will say, like, when I was trying to find kits for we haven't really talked about these, and I don't know if we're going to really have time, but which is fine. I mean, we have time, but I don't want to go too far afield. But when I was looking for what solids would go with this, I would take a bunch of mohairs and put them up next to it and say, do I, not mohair, the alpaca. This is why I'm hydrating. I'll put them up next to it and say, okay, which ones
don't fight as hard?
Yes. Cause I'm not looking for which ones blend, but I'm looking for which ones don't fight. Like they go better. So can you pass me the taupe that's over there? Like, I think I might have made a kit with this taupe. I was looking at neutral. So the taupe and your gray, here's the gray. Like these both go, but I had to make a call. Instead of making every single kit under the sun I could, I saw some more warm tones in here, and I thought this one would go a little better. So you could always make it out of this. We just haven't listed it as a kit. And then this aqua kind of goes with this. It goes a little more with the one that has lighter tones. Like this actually blends really nicely, which might be what you're going for with the chevron cloud. Whereas with these stripes, you might want them to pop a little more. So what?
A winter poncho out of those.
These?
Yeah.
A winter poncho? Like making
if
one of these out of those?
One of those on a because
or double strand it.
You could double strand it.
It'd be really warm if you double strand it.
But just using that contour of the lighter stripes and the thicker stripes, it could be
possibilities are endless. See, this is what happens when you make 6 million papillons and are always trying to figure out how you can make the next papillon unique. Is I think Liz's brain starts to see unique combinations and possibilities for almost any pattern. But part of that is you have to be willing to engage in a little bit of going off script, a little bit of carolization.
I have played with colors over the last 3 years, especially with the papillons.
And sometimes
I would never use in person.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, and then I wound up with a dress that's yellow. I mean, it's yellow and teal, but
you've got other colors in there. It's so pretty though. And so she's played with colors a lot over the past few years on her own for her papillons. And then I've forced her to play with colors with customers many, many times over the past few years. It's kind of my excuse when I'm not sure what to do. I'm like, Liz, What do you think? So having a friend to bounce ideas off of can be very helpful.
And a friend with a different color palette.
Yes. And we can be those friends to you if you don't want to ask someone nearby. We're happy to do that. So
well, we all get stuck in our color palette. Like people will come in an outfit and leave with yarn that coordinates exactly with their outfit, and they're like, I don't know why, but I have trouble not
it's like,
buying
oh, I like
these
this,
colors.
and I'm like, it's what you're wearing.
Yeah.
But and if you don't want to go outside your color palette, ooh, this lost a couple stitches. Oops. It's okay. It's life. I don't use stitch stoppers as much as I should, even though I sell them. Oh, there was a stitch marker here too. I'll find it later. No, I was dragging this out because at some point I do want to take it home and make it. But when I was looking for a color to start this sweater, I forced myself out of my comfort zone. Partially because we have so much of it, of this color, and partially because like I know the colors I want to make for me, but those are also colors I'd like to leave for sale in the shop that I know will sell. And this, we did have someone come in, and this is exactly the color they were looking for, which is awesome. They didn't like the feel of the yarn, but you know, that happens. It's all good.
Magic box.
We're not a magic box.
Color and feel and weight all never meet up at the same time.
But I'm forcing myself out of my comfort zone, and it's been really fun at times, you know, to say half the time I pick something that I'm like, I would never make this if I didn't own the yarn shop for myself. And then someone walks in and says, that's such a good color on you. And I'm like, what? Because I wouldn't have tried it, you know? So are we, I'm trying to figure out if we're hopefully canvassing the question as well as we should.
I think we did, but I can reread the question.
Yeah, let's revisit the question and see if there's anything else we might want to talk about.
I'll skip to the second paragraph since that's where all the question was. Will you describe how you would put yarns together that are solid? We hit that. What colors go with other colors? It's kind of personal preference.
It's there. I mean, there are some potential rules, but then it's personal preference. Yeah, I can come back to that in a second.
What shades go together? Should I have two different colors but use the same hue or shade, or should they be different?
Shoulds. I don't like shoulds.
When you mentioned the rules about something, when I was growing up, my mom's and most older women was, you don't mix brown shoes with black pants.
Oh yeah, brown and black, no. Silver and gold, don't wear them together.
No.
Right? All those rules. And those are kind of gone now. I don't know.
Rules for almost anything apart from like physics and gravity and
and sometimes like that, those get broken too.
Are more like guidelines that somebody's like, I don't like brown and black shoes brown pants or black pants and brown shoes together. Don't ever wear them. It gets started and somebody just keeps going, you can't do that. And
no white after Labor Day.
Yeah. They're more like guidelines.
I mean, I don't like wearing white in general anyway, because it just, I spill food. So, but yeah. The whole, I'm hearing a lot of should I or shouldn't I in that email. And I would like to change the dialogue on that and say, I mean, we would maybe recommend or recommend not doing things, but we're not going to be like, oh, you can't do that. That's like someone saying to a new knitter, oh, you can't make that. Like, where does people get off saying that?
It's like mixing needle sizes and yarn weights, or mixing different weights of yarn in the same pattern.
But the yarn says I need to use this needle. No, you don't.
They're guidelines.
They're suggestions and they're a starting point.
Yeah.
Like a lot of what we're talking about today is a starting point of starting to try. Like these colors just call to me together. I happen to have a ton of them in the shop, which helps. But like, I like this. I don't necessarily like these two colors together, but it's not that they don't go together.
I could see something done in those
right?
colors.
I mean, these colors are actually really close to what Liz is wearing right now. It doesn't mean what Liz is wearing is ugly.
It was my birthday dress.
It's really not. It's really pretty. But these are both super saturated, but you still have light and dark going on. So they could, like almost every color I could put, like even though I might not put a kit up like this, I could still see them together, Like it gets tough. But it's a kind of an instinct gut thing for me sometimes when I look at two colors and go, no, I'm not going to do that. And sometimes Liz will go, yeah, I think that'll really work. And if the battle of wills is won by Liz, which usually is, then we'll list it. So,
and to be quite honest, some of the colors I have paired, and I said this at the beginning, I like them together. They work on some level. Not for me, but on some level. And it's like, I'll put them out because Rebecca's like, hey, make me kits. So, just
I'm a slave driver. Let me tell you.
Colors together. And she takes pictures, and a couple of the kits, she's been like, really? And
I didn't think that one would sell.
Yeah. It doesn't fight. It actually works. It's kind of on the crazier end of the combos, but I think it'll work. And then it's been the one that sells, and we both kind of look at each other and go, huh.
Well, and I think we've already said this, but the part of it is, what is the function of the pattern too? And what do you want to get out of the pattern? If it's to make a striped sweater and you want it to be noticeable, then you should pick yarns that really pop against each other. If it's to do a gradient fade, like if you wanted to make these stripes kind of fade in color and not be super noticeable, but just like you go, oh, look, it's light up there and it gets dark. That's sometimes hard to accomplish with the yarns in our shop because there's so many different colors, and there could be a range of blues, but they're not really going to all go together really well. But that's a different question to answer when you're pairing colors together, and we could line up all the blues we have of a certain yarn and say, look, there's a fade, but some are warm and some are cool. And someone's going to think that's amazing. And someone else is going to say that looks gross.
And ultimately, it comes down to what you like. And if you like it, tell everybody else that doesn't like it, this is me. And no,
if you like it, embrace it. Embrace like what your heart wants you to do. If you
want to do scrappy sweaters, which are actually super, super cool.
It's like the Harry Styles sweater. It's all patchwork and stuff. Like if you want to take warm and cools of the same color that we just said, oh, that doesn't really work. If you look at that and say that is the coolest thing I've ever seen, then go with your bad self, and the 9/10 of it when you're wearing something you've made is attitude.
Yeah.
It's just like, I made this and I'm proud of it. And if you go into a room and say like, yeah, I made this and I don't like how it came out, it'll show, or that's what gets conveyed to someone. So
I've seen it a lot with like the color red and older ladies. Like my mom was told in high school, you don't wear red, it excites the boys. I've heard that from several other people, but like, I'm like, it's red. It's my mom's favorite color, and she will rock red all day long because, it excites the boys. So
that's why. No.
But we've had a lot of ladies come in that are like, I would love a red sweater. And I'm like,
then make a red sweater.
And they're like, but it would be kind of really stand out. And I don't know that I could do that. And rock that red sweater. Just rock
confidence. Like wearing something you've made can feel really cool, especially if you're happy with it. Again, that's the whole I don't care bar. Like, where is it? If you're starting to make something and halfway through it, you're just like, I'm not sure. I don't really think I like this. Like, you've come to a crossroads. Like, again, to misinterpret the Robert Frost poem, two roads diverge in a wood, right? And you can decide, even though you're like, about it, to keep making it. And you can be okay with that. But a lot of people will, when it's done, they'll never wear it because they weren't okay with it. So, it's okay to stop and change your plan. With a papillon? What?
I don't like the purple in my zombie apocalypse papillon.
Is that why you keep pulling it out and leaving it on the table?
No, I keep pulling it out and leaving it on the table so I can actually work on it. But
see, I like it, but I'm not the one who's living with it.
I want to use brains with my zombie Barbie. It will mute the crap out of it.
Oh, you want to do
But
like one of the grays or something?
No, I want to do this one. It's the blue gray matter. It's
Oh, I thought you were doing that.
I'm doing that on a hat. But and I was gonna take this out, and I'm
Unrelated,
already in section 2, and I keep looking at it. In fact, I was thinking about it as I rounded the corner this morning to come into the shop. I really don't like my purple, but am I going to rip it all out and start over?
Okay, and here's just psychologically something I'd like to say. Your I don't care bar is super low.
It is
super low, so that it is eating away at you. I think that speaks volumes. Her I don't care bar is like on the floor,
probably into the floor.
So if something is bugging her, that's a serious problem.
And the question, like my biggest problem is I'm into section 2. Do I frog 13 plus, stripes and start over just because I really want to do it in this? Or do I just keep going because everybody else is like, ooh, the purple looks really cool?
I think you know the answer to that, Liz.
I'm gonna frog it.
and here's what I say to my knitters who sometimes I help them make the decision to frog something is it's all learning experience. It's all good
Sticks
practice.
And string.
It's like if you have to rip out and do it again, now you know the pattern really well. I mean, she already does. So, but don't be swayed by peer pressure unless the reason that you are hesitant to rip something out is because you're just really not sure what colors go together. If that's it and everyone else says it's beautiful, keep going. If you really don't like it, don't let people talk you into doing it. So hang on, I wanted to show you one thing, and we have to fight the phone because it's almost
I put it under a pile of yarn and it's not working.
This is good.
Rebecca found something.
I'm talking about color things. I might have just put those back on the wrong pegs.
Okay, quit ringing as I piled yarn.
You're like, muffle it. Okay, this is the same yarn, different dye lots. And I'm going to try to do some color correction on this, so hopefully you can see the difference. But one is much more of a purple red, and one is much more like a cool red, and one is a warm red, to kind of circle back to these color things that we're talking about. And some yarn the ghost just forced some yarn out of a rack over there. Like these are going to go with different lights and darks, or different, some of these might go with some greens, and the cooler greens, warmer greens, it depends on so much. And what one person says is a shade of color is not what someone else is going to say is the same shade of the color. So much personal preference goes into it.
If you Google a specific color, you will get 35 different shades of that. Everybody says it's this color, but it's actually like ice blue is everything from what you're wearing into the darkest cobalt blue.
Yeah, like trying to figure out what to call this is like it's aqua, but it's not, but it is, but it's
everybody has a different idea of greens, like it's
someone's
difficult.
Leaving a very long message.
Very long message.
I have to go listen to that in a minute. We should wrap up. I hope we have done the question justice. If people want to hear more about a specific part of what we were expounding upon, let us know in the comments, or email or call us, or write us a letter. It's so fun to get letters. If you want to write us a letter, it is Dear Becky and Lizzy, Sun Dragon Art and Fiber, 35 South Broad Street, Brevard, North Carolina, 28712.
Or email me, Liz at sundragonartandfiber.com.
All right. And then tomorrow is knit night. We have knit night on Friday because I'm not getting a shot. I'm 1 week out from my shot. I'll be halfway to full vaccination levels considered. It just ended. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully someone has lots of nice things to say about us or to us. I'll go listen in a second. But we will have a Friday knit night tomorrow night, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The code
Shop
is
phone number
828-877-3550.
And I'll let you in from the weight room. And I just was thinking weight room, like lifting weights. I don't know. My brain is going weird places right now. And if you're a first timer, we might ask you to turn the camera on. Just say hi to us first. And we have so many kits. There's so much yarn down here that we could have talked more about, but you really should just read the listing. Ask us if you have questions. Calling us about the non-show will work today and tomorrow, or coming by the shop. Appointments to come in. They're very easy to make, or we can help you outside. We have everything bundled up here. We can just take it outside and say, here are the color combos.
We yesterday I was telling someone we got really, really good last year at bringing stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if you think it's too much work for us, we've been doing it for so long, we're very efficient.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Don't worry about us. If you don't want to wait outside for a while we keep bringing yummies out to you, can't help you with that. But you're not putting us out to assist you outside. We've done it for a very long time. We're happy to do it. There are still some appointments inside today, depending on when this video goes up. I'll try. And we should probably go see what was going on with that message. So, but have a good weekend. We missed y'all. We are still climbing in our subscribers, which is wonderful.
Like, ring the bell, do the
alert, all the
subscribe.
algorithmy things on YouTube that help you help us, and yeah. Anyway, it's gonna probably take us a little while to get there, but we'll have another sale when we hit 600 subscribers. I think last time I looked, we were at 513.
I saw 513.
So we are growing, and that's wonderful. So share this with friends and neighbors. Introduce more people to this. We hear there are spouses who like watching it, even though they're not necessarily yarny people themselves.
I know a couple.
I think they're related to enough of the yarn world that helps make it more exciting or fun. But I think we're kind of entertaining on our own every once in a while. So,
we're just a giggly hot mess most of the time.
Makes life fun. Okay, so we'll see y'all next week. But be in touch, all that good stuff, and have a good weekend. Get some rest. I know I will. Bye.